How's it going, guys?
What's up, man?
What's
Oh, man.
going on? Rock Talks. Good to see you, bro.
Nice to see you too, Zod. How you been, brother?
I've been good.
I apologize if I look a little sweaty. I was kind of rushing to get here. I had a busy night. It was my dad's birthday tonight, so we were over at my parents' place celebrating. So I had to rush home, get everything all set up. So
But
here I am.
you signed the waiver. You signed the waiver, though.
I made it. We're all good. I'm here. I'm
We are just about to get into One Punch Dan. So I wanted to ask the first question right out of the gate, and I just want to go around and you guys can ask those any questions that you have for him. But in particular, you were speaking about Pause Not Stop and how that took off, and then how things happened in between that. We were there for all of that from the beginning to the end. And when did this idea, after all of that happened, when did this idea for One Punch Dan suddenly just ignite for you?
How it started was One Punch Dan actually started as a joke on one of Bat Dan's live streams. It was a joke about Bat Dan, punching old ladies in the face, punching Karens in the face, and myself, Sin Havoc, and One Punch Dan. It was this big joke between the three of us, and I got the idea of, I'm like, I can make a story. I can create something out of this joke. And it started as just a joke. Like it really is a joke. It's really funny. And it kind of just went from there, where ideas come from the strangest places sometimes. Like I kind of got this idea because, make no mistake, One Punch Dan is not a joke of a movie. It's not a comedy. It's an actual, serious superhero movie with lots of mystery, intrigue, and drama, and it's very deeply layered. You're going to see a lot of my my movie inspirations of like directors, a lot of filmmakers that have inspired me. You'll be able to see a lot of that in One Punch Dan, by the various genres that are kind of crisscrossed and mishmashed in this film that I'm doing here. There's definitely a lot of Zack Snyder, influences in this. Of course, there's influences from the Wachowskis and John Woo and Scorsese. There's all kinds of stuff that lots of references and stuff you're gonna see in this movie that they're gonna show you. Oh yeah, I could see where Zod got his ideas for doing something like this or something like that, and it's all there. And
we're gonna notice once we see the movie, we're gonna notice the references.
Right, you'll get it. You'll get the type of the type of stuff that's being referenced in the movies, at least paying homage to certain film types of filmmakers with certain scenes. Sergio Leone, lots of stuff. You're going to see a lot of John Singleton. You're going to see a lot of stuff in this movie that is very, that's going to be very reminiscent of certain filmmakers.
Like the script, everything, you wrote it yourself, or
yes,
ghostwriter also?
Yes, no. I wrote the script. Entirely. The script took me about a month and a half to write, and I had to go, and then I've gone back and have made edits and changes and various different things. I'm currently using the third draft of the script for the actual movie. So a lot of the stuff that's come from it is, from the third draft right now.
So can I ask?
Now, we were talking. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I've noticed that with some of the promotional material that you've put out, it looks like a combination of real people that are within the movement and AI art, if I'm correct. Can you kind of explain the process of like how you're actually putting together a movie with that? Like what kind of programs are you using to do that? And like
That was actually gonna be my question.
yeah, like I want you to kind of go into detail about that. Like what's the
Oh,
process
I can.
behind that?
I can. What you're seeing is with all early on, I was the promotional material I was releasing was animated stuff. It was a combination of AI animation and you know still frames and various things that I was doing. Basically storyboard material and artwork that was ideas that were that I was using, but that was before I actually got into making the movie, where the programs I'm using now, I'm using about 12 different AI programs to make this movie. Two of them are literally in beta right now, and I can't even talk about them because they're basically programs that essentially are they're experimental, and there's all kinds of things with these programs, and I'm kind of under sworn to secrecy about these programs, but most of the stuff that I'm using now, I have subscriptions and various things that I'm doing, like all the music that I'm creating for the movie, for example. I use AI music programs, and I'm subscribed to these programs, and where I can create my own music. I can create musical scores. I can create actual songs. I can create whatever I want to create essentially for the movie. All my sound effects, I use a program called 11 Labs, where I am able to basically take all the voices of the characters and clone the voices. And then after I clone the voices, I can basically make those voices say whatever I need them to say for the movie.
Is that just as simple as literally taking a recording of somebody's voice and then the program, let's say, just analyzes that and then can run with it? Like,
what it will do is, for example, I could take like about a minute and a half of your voice, for example, and I could throw that into the program. It's just a snippet of your voice, and what it does is it will generate your voice from that clip. And so then once it's generated your voice, I can take that clip, and I don't need the clip anymore. The clip, I can discard the clip, because now all I want to do, if I want Rock Talks to say whatever I want him to say, I just type in my script, whatever I want you to say, and then I hit generate, and then the dialogue comes out. Now, here's the great thing about 11 Labs. When I say, for example, it's a super serious scene, and I need Mama Bear, I was just about to mention you, because you are the perfect person for this. Like, I cannot stress that enough. Mama Bear has one of the greatest voices, period, for this type of project. There is no, say I want her to say something really, really serious, and I want the emotion to be conveyed. It's like getting takes from an actor. So the first time I get her to say something, it might be, you were wrong and I was right. Well, you get her to say, you were wrong and I was right. The first time she delivers it, she just delivers it, like a regular line. You were wrong and I was right. I click generate again, because that's not what I want. Then she might say, you were wrong and I was right. And then I could be like, well, that's a little bit good, but that's a lot stronger than what I wanted. So then I click on it again, and she'll say it a little more nuanced with emotion. And I'll be like, I like that. She's saying it with emotion. It's nuanced. I can use that clip. And
so it's very similar to AI image generation, where when you generate images, it gives you like multiple different versions, and you can kind of pick and choose what you want to use from there. So it's
one of the video programs that I'm using to make the movie. The movie is fully photorealistic, doesn't look animated at all. All the scenes look it's looks like a movie. You can generate the images for the movie. You can generate the scenes on the fly. So I can go and I could type in a scene. Rock Talks walks into the room and punches Charles Austin in the face. So I'm telling it exactly what I want you to do. So it's going to show Rock Talks walking into the room. He's going to punch Charles Austin in the face. And it's not only going to give me Rock Talks punching Charles Austin in the face, but it's going to give me several transition shots so that when you see Rock Talks fist go like this, you're getting the action that you're going to need, so that when you edit it all and you for the movie, for the scene, you can pick different angles and different shots. I can choose camera angles, I can choose lighting, I can choose direction, I can choose whether I want it to be backward, forward, I can choose whether I want it to be a wide shot, a medium shot, an establishing shot, whatever I need it to be. I can set that shot up so that it will, it will provide that, and it will allow me to, work within the confines of it in a cinematic way, so that when I go back and edit it later, I don't have to worry too much about how it's going to come out. I mean, you're going to get to see that, that punch in the face, and then I can decide to alter it and say, well, I don't like it being a straight, just a straight punch. I want it to be a sucker punch. So I can change and make it a sucker punch, and then you could sucker punch him in the face, and it'll alter it on the fly. So as I'm typing it out in the prompts, it's rendering it and generating it based off of what I'm doing, and that's working beautifully for the progress of the movie. Because there's a lot of shots that'll come out, and like if the shot doesn't come out right away, the way that I want, it's okay. I just go in and I just change it, and reprompt it or change it or add to it.
The fact that we're already there with AI is insane to me,
Yeah.
And it really makes me wonder, like 10 years down the road, if studios aren't utilizing this technology,
They are.
They have to, especially when you see all these issues that are going on with the movie budgets. We talked about that last week with all these overblown budgets left, right, and center. As much as like there's this anti-AI movement where a lot of people hate on it, you know what? Unfortunately, it is the way things I see.
It's just the way it is. It's just they're hating on it now because they don't understand it. It's like everything in the world. I'm going to give you a perfect example. Back in the 90s, people used to make fun of other people that met their significant other online. Oh, you met your girlfriend on AOL. Oh, you're a loser.
Those days, yeah. It was so stigmatic.
People used to talk down to people. Oh, you just met this person off the internet. Like it used to be, like the internet used to be a dirty word. It used to be icky. Nobody, and that's exactly what it is with AI. And personally, I, for one, I'm just tired of that. I'm tired of the way humanity kind of judges everything so negatively at first.
This is what I was going to say.
Until they see the positives.
Right. This is what I was going to say about that. So obviously, depending on how you use AI, that just like anything else, it's going to generate either something positive or something negative. But you alluded to something earlier, saying that it can possibly kill Hollywood. So, do you think that if that's a possibility, what do you, as far as actors go, what do you think the outcome is going to be for them as far as how they maintain their I mean, they maintain their level of being important as far as that genre goes, or as far as whatever their career goes. Yeah, wherever their career is going. Do you think that they'll be a part of it, or do you think that they'll be relegated to something like, say, something smaller? like stage plays, back to acting on stage and Broadway and things of that nature.
There's going to be a lot of that, but I think what it is again, when people learn about using AI as a tool, what you have to realize is you're not because, like, for example, I'm doing this movie, I have to do all this stuff. I'm not relying on AI to generate it and give me, but I still have to do all the editing. I still have to write everything. I still have to do the direction. I still have to create everything. If without humans to utilize the tools, you're not going to get nothing out of it. It's just going to be gibberish and garbage.
Example, yeah, so, exactly, and that's why VFX are so. That's why VFX. That's why it's expensive. You think that you're paying, they're not paying for the programs. It's not the programs per se. It's the people in their time in which you have to pay them. That's why VFX are so expensive. So if you have an AI component in that, the AI can pretty much take a lot of that time out of the equation, basically. The human element is still there. You tell that AI program, that human just tells that AI program what it wants. So as opposed to you trying to render everything yourself in whatever program you want to use, you say, hey, I know what I want. All I have to do is just plug it in. The AI will take care of the rest. And then we wrap that around the app.
Right. It allows me to focus. It allows me to focus more on the creative aspects of it.
Correct.
To create a better story, to create a better movie, because you're not as focused on, the little details, like, okay, I want this shot to, but again, I still have to create all that stuff. I still have to come, it's like, as far as to answer your question though, about actors and where they'll be, I think a lot of those actors will embrace AI and realize that AI is a part of it, but you're also going to want to, as an actor, you're going to want to still be able to provide your services in a way. Like, I'll give you an example with 1PunchDan. There's some people that I reached out to for the movie to be in there that did not want to have their voices cloned to be used in the movie. They did not want to do that. So I gave them, an alternative. I said, okay, well, if you don't want your voice to be cloned, I'd still like to have you in the movie. You won't be able to have as big of a part as somebody who, allowed me to clone their voice so that I can use, their voice for whatever I need. But if you want to be in the movie, I'll send you some script pieces and you could record your dialogue and send me the audio files. And that's what I'll use for your character. So I gave some people that option who I went to that had issues with AI. So I think there's always going to be the need for actors as well. Like, you're not going to do everything with AI. You're going to have some instances, but it's not going to be anywhere near where it is now.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying.
Where actors and actresses are looked upon as royalty. Actors and actresses are actually going to have to
exactly
do other things besides that unless we by then we get to that point where actually nobody has to really work for a living anymore. Everything is automated and AI does everything. So we're living like in the Star Trek era, where we're living in a utopia and everything is essentially just, we're doing the work that we do is for the betterment of humankind, and not because we need it to pay for food or to pay for housing or like basic things like that we have to deal with as people. Right. But I just think it's going to be a different thing, and actors and actresses are going to have to adapt just like everybody else.
I want to jump in on this one. I kind of got a different opinion about this. I agree with Zod when I hear him say, like, it helps with like him being able to focus on the bigger tasks, instead of him having to worry about rendering out, let's say, 30 different things. The AI can do that, whereas he can focus out put his focus where it needs to be. The problem is, and this is the problem, this is the argument, like with the Hollywood side of things, is that they would argue, well, that's taking away, 30 different men from being able to do their job, right? Because right now it takes those large numbers of people, as Charles was saying before, you're paying for the time of the people, right? So it takes a team of people to render out all this stuff right now, right? When you're putting together your VFX, you're basically eliminating that. And now you got one guy who can run an AI program to do that. I see the argument there, but I want to go further and I want to elaborate and give my opinion on what Charles was saying about the actors, because my opinion is completely different than where you guys are going with this. I truly believe right now that we are seeing the last generation of real actors. I don't believe you're going to get any more real actors after this.
A-star actors, like
all your A-listers. This is
see, that's where I was going. That's exactly where I was going. I was just about to say, do you see them going back? Basically reverting. So we went from the silent era, stage and screen, silent era, and then we went from there. We got sound and all of that, and now we have the era of AI, and AI can pretty much create everything realistic. Think about Man of Steel's budget, almost $300 million for a budget. And that was no AI. That was all computers. That was all programming. That was all the VFX departments. That was all of them. But now that same exact environment that was created for Man of Steel, Krypton, the whole thing can be created in an AI program right now.
Yeah. But I'm going to go even further than that, dude. Okay. Here's what I also think is going to happen. I think that what's going to happen is this last generation of actors are going to be forced to embrace AI. And what I mean by that, I mean the studio is going to come at all these A-listers, these big guys, your Ben Afflecks, your Charlize Theron's, your Ryan Reynolds, all these A-listers. Okay. Studios are going to come at them and say, listen, we want your likeness so that when you guys are gone, 50 years from now, 60 years from now, 70 years from now, we want to use your likeness and we want to continue your legacy, keep making money for your family, generations come, blah, 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 blah.
That's already happening.
Exactly. It's already happening. So what's going to happen is these actors are going to sign off on their likeness, and then the AI is going to take over in that sense. The AI is going to be able to do whatever the hell they want with these people, put them in whatever roles they want. And then I'm going to go even further. The reason why I say this is the last generation of actors is because if they need new people, if they need new faces, if Hollywood has to introduce new people, at that point, you could literally go up to any bum on the street and say, hey, buddy, here's a check for $200. Sign off on your likeness. They sign off on their likeness, and now, boom, they have their likeness.
I'll do you one further. You don't even got to do that. You can just create people from scratch. I can do that. I can do that now. I can create people from scratch for the movie. I've created so many extras and people from scratch that aren't based on anybody, that are just from scratch, that are just in the movie as background characters or whatever. Yeah.
The issue also that is happening is that we've already said this multiple times. The budgets are just too inflated, and the studios are not making enough return on the investors' money, because also these A-listers are charging ridiculous amounts of money, and they're going to be forced. Maybe not yet, but it's coming. Like your Tom Cruises, your Ben Afflecks, your Leo DiCaprio's, they want the 30, 40, 50 million. No, you're going to have to pay a pay cut. I don't care if you have a marketing team, a publicist assistant. They don't give a shit. It's about this. It's about the bottom line. And if they want to keep working and stay relevant, they're going to have to pony down on their demand on pay, because that's what also we had the strikes last year. Was it last year? I don't even remember already.
It was last year. Yep.
Last year. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's also something that is affecting the studios. Yes, there are overspending, but also these A-listers are overcharging. You don't need, like, if you were going to pay an A-lister $30 million, $40 million up front and the movie flops, how do you explain that to the investors?
Yeah.
They're not going to give shit. Like, no, you invested this amount. I want a return on my investment.
Yeah.
Why would I still invest if I'm not getting my money back?
I'm actually surprised that there's not more flexible contracts where it's like you're guaranteed X amount of money until it makes this much, and then when it makes this much, you get a percentage. You know what I mean?
Well, supposedly now with the new deal with the strikes is that because obviously now it's streaming, and so cable TVs, and that's a dead system now. So now with streaming, let's say if the show is successful, then you get a bonus. You don't get royalties, you get a bonus, which I think it's more reasonable. So that means now you have to work hard. And,
because you have to make the show a success.
You got to make the show.
What you're a part of has to be successful in order to.
I saw an article on X Twitter the other day about, I think it was Sydney Sweet, or I don't know, probably it was her, bitching about, I don't get enough money for Euphoria, whatever, and comparing her with Jennifer Aniston, that she gets like a $15 million check every year for Friends. That's a difference. First of all, one way better show. And second, a different generation. And third, that's the way people would get paid. If you had a successful show that had more than 5 seasons, then you were all set for life. Like Charlie Sheen with 2.5 Men. You got Jerry Seinfeld also. He's all set. You got Frank Ocean all set. Like all these big shows back in the day, they're all set. But now, the ones that are starting in this generation, they're screwed.
These shows aren't doing the kinds of numbers like Friends or like Seinfeld.
Exactly. So they're not making it. If they're not, if the show's not a success, then why should the studios pay them? I wouldn't. But at least I'm keeping it fair. It's like, listen, if it's a success and you do numbers, I will pay you an extra bonus because you deserve a little piece of the pie as well. Absolutely.